Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation Limited Q4 FY2023 earnings conference call hosted by Dolat Capital Markets Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rahul Jain from Dolat Capital. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Ranju. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Dolat Capital, we welcome you all to the Q4 FY23 conference call of IRCTC Limited. I take this opportunity to welcome the management of IRCTC, represented by Srimati Rajni Hasija ji, who is CMD of the company, and Mr. Ajit Kumar ji, who is Director of Finance and CFO of the company. And now I would like to hand the conference over to IRCTC management to take the proceedings forward. Over to you, please.
Very good afternoon to everyone present here, and a very warm welcome to you and all the presentees to this Concall of IRCTC Limited for the quarter and the year ended 31st March 2023. Wishing you and your dear one very good health also. Yesterday, your company had announced the audited financial results for the fourth quarter and year ended 31st March 2023, and the same have been disclosed on both the stock exchanges website also. I shall first give you a brief overview about the last quarter of fiscal 23 and overall results of the financial year 23 also, post which our Director of Finance and CFO will provide the details of the performance of our business segments, post which we shall have a question-answer session too. The last quarter of financial year 23, the revenue was all-time high. That is rupees 965 per CR, a very strong growth of 5.1% quarter-over-quarter, and year-over-year the growth has been 39.7% has been seen. In the last quarter of financial year 23, the tourism segment has been the main driver of the quarter-over-quarter revenue growth, given that the quarter is seasonally the best quarter for the segment. As you would be aware about the difference in the profitability of our business segment, the change in the business mix resulted in the EBITDA margins coming to 33.6% versus 35.5% quarter-over-quarter and 40.3% year-over-year. Importantly, the absolute EBITDA of rupees 324.6 crore was in line with the rupees 325.8 CR in the third quarter of financial year 23. The net profit before exceptional items for the last quarter of financial year 23 came to be rupees 253 CR, that is 253 CR, vis-a-vis 254 CR in the third quarter of the financial year and 218 CR in the last quarter of the previous year. For the year 23 as a whole, the revenue has been lifetime high for the IRCTC came to be rupees 3,541.5 crores and grew by 88.5% year-over-year. That is, the absolute EBITDA came at rupees 1,276 CR with 46.3% year-over-year, and EBITDA margin came at 36% versus 46.4% year-over-year, given the change in the revenue mix. Lifetime high net profit before exceptional items also came, that is at rupees 978.7 CR versus 663.6 CR from the last year. The Board of Directors have recommended the final dividend of rupees 2 per share, subject to shareholders' approval, which takes the total dividend of rupees 5.5 per share for the financial year 23, highest ever dividend declared by IRCTC so far. I would like to conclude my opening remarks by saying that IRCTC has demonstrated once again its resilient business model during and most importantly post the COVID-19 pandemic. It is its resilience that should keep the company to continue on its growth path in the future as well. Now I shall be handing over the call to my colleague and our Director and CFO, Shri Ajit Kumar, to brief you on the financial and segment-wise performance of the company. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I hope you and your dear ones are in good health. I shall first give a brief overview about Q4 FY23 results, post which we will have the question and answer session. Q4 FY23 revenue saw another quarter of strong growth, both on quarter-over-quarter and year-over-year basis. Revenue of Rs 965 crore grew by 5.1% quarter-over-quarter and by just under 40% year-over-year. Given that tourism segment, which has relatively lower margin, was the key driver for quarter-over-quarter revenue growth, the overall EBITDA margin 33.6% versus 35.5% quarter-over-quarter and 40.4% year-over-year. However, we have been able to maintain the absolute EBITDA almost at Q3 FY23 levels. Net profit before exceptional items for Q4 FY23 came at rupees 253 crore versus rupees 254 crore in Q3 FY23 and rupees 218 crore in Q4 FY22. Let us move to the business segment. Now, the first one, Internet Ticketing segment, that continued to demonstrate its resilience amid conversion of reserved 2S tickets back to unreserved tickets during the pre-pandemic period. Revenue for the quarter was at rupees 295 crore, which declined by just 2% quarter-over-quarter and was grew by 0.8% year-over-year. However, EBIT margin came at 88.1% versus 84.2% quarter-over-quarter and 91.5% year-over-year. Next segment, the Catering segment, that reported revenue of rupees 395.8 crore, implying growth of 0.4% quarter-over-quarter and 48.7% year-over-year. However, the EBIT margin improved to 12.1% versus 10.7% quarter-over-quarter and 9.4% year-over-year. The third important segment, the tourism. The tourism segment saw a strong growth of 38% quarter-over-quarter and 1.5 times year-over-year to rupees 204 crore, which is a new all-time high and well above the pre-pandemic levels. EBIT margin for the segment improved further to 13.5% versus 10.8% quarter-over-quarter and a loss on year-on-year basis. In Q4 FY23, the revenue share of the tourism segment increased to 21.1% versus 16.1% quarter-over-quarter and 11.6% year-over-year. As you would know, given that the EBIT margin for the segment is lower than the company average, it resulted in the moderation of overall margin profile of the quarter. Now, next important segment, Railway. Railway saw Q4 FY23 revenue of rupees 70.1 crore, implying a decline of 6.7% quarter-over-quarter and a growth of 35.2% year-over-year. The reported EBIT margin improved to 18.6% versus 11.8% quarter-over-quarter and a loss on a year-on-year basis. For Q4 FY23, the capex was rupees 21.64 crore and total capex for the FY23 was rupees 135.4 crore. The cash and bank balances and net worth of the company as of the end of FY23 is rupees 1,934 crore and rupees 2,480 crore respectively. That brings me to the end of the opening remarks. Now we can straight move to the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touch-tone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question comes from the line of Jinesh Joshi from Prabhudas Lilladher Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Initially, if you can help me with the convenience revenue for the quarter and also the number of tickets booked.
Can you please come again? Your voice initially was not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are better.
Yeah. So, madam, I wanted to know what was our convenience revenue and the total number of tickets booked for the quarter.
Okay. The first, I will answer your second question first. The number of tickets booked in the first, this last quarter, that is January 23 to March 23, has been total tickets have been nearly 10.44 CR. Number of tickets have been booked and 14.54 CR passengers have been booked on these tickets. And then you take the revenue from this, total 802 was the total revenue of the ticketing in the entire financial year, and in the last quarter, the convenience fee that we have received is nearly 197 CR in the last quarter.
Sure, madam. Thank you. My second question is with respect to our catering business. So if I remember correctly, our catering reach was approximately 1,200 trains, including TSC and the pantry car until the last quarter. So the question is, have we been able to extend the count over here? And also, what is the total opportunity size in terms of number of trains that we can service? So basically, I thought of asking this question as not all suburban trains would require catering support, especially the ones that ply on the short distance. Your thoughts on this?
See, before COVID, we were having nearly 417 trains, if you recall correctly. Now, these 417 trains with the pantry car. So now this 417 train the figure has increased, and we have now the contracts available for 492 trains, which has been awarded by IRCTC till the last month. In addition to these 492 trains, we also have a train side vending contracts available for nearly 675 such trains. And many of the, I think more than 300 train contracts is still in the pipeline, because as of now, we are going for a short-term tenders, and this is a continuous process, and after every 6 months, the cycle repeats. So as of now, you can say more than 1,100 trains are available with the IRCTC on contract, out of which nearly 50% trains are with the pantry cars, and rest of the trains are under train side vending.
Sure, madam. Just one follow-up on this side. You mentioned that more than 1,100 trains are available, but I wanted to know the opportunity size. So,
all Vande Bharat which are coming are being added as a fleet. Our contracts are being awarded by the IRCTC. That is one addition. Any new train being operated by Indian Railways, the contracts are being awarded by IRCTC only. So we have a right. You can say that so far, I think Honorable Prime Minister has announced that 75 new Vande Bharats are going to be operated, out of which I think 20 have started. All such operations are being looked after by IRCTC. The more trains are going to be there in the pipeline, the more services are going to be available for IRCTC.
Sure, madam. One last question from my side, that is on the balance sheet. Especially pertaining to the receivable days. So if I I remember correctly, in the past, we had worked out an MOU with the Indian Railways, whereby majority of the payment pertaining to catering was to happen on the day of the service itself, which essentially should have led to an improvement in our receivable cycle, so to say. But apparently, if I look at our receivable days for FY23, it is at about 118 odd, which is not materially different than the past. So has the change really come into effect?
There was a software to be made. Ministry of Railway has already decided. Even yesterday also there was a testing. If everything goes well with the testing, it is likely to be started in the coming month. So as the services are booked for a train, accordingly the customer will be paying online. So we would be receiving nearly 68.5% of that revenue directly the next day. So that testing is being done. Our team is also involved. The testing is in the place. You will find some changes in the preceding month, in the forthcoming month.
Got it. So basically our receivable cycle should improve going ahead. That's understanding.
It will rather, because you are going to get the, earlier you used to get the amount after 120 days, and after 120 days some time is taken by the railways to reimburse the amount. So we had a lead time of more than 6 months in getting. That is why you are saying 6 months. So maybe now as soon as the ticket is booked, journey may be after 120 days, but at least 68% of the revenue will be available with you. That program has been developed by our technical body, CRIS. It is being tested by Railway Finance. It is being tested by IRCTC Finance and our operational teams too, on both the sides.
Sure, madam. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question comes from the line of Rohit Bharwani from Vijit Global Securities Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I had a couple of questions. First is, what are your growth plans in rail knee segment? The capacity is around 14.8 lakh liters per day and utilization is around 70%. At what levels can we expect it to go further?
Okay. You said our capacity is nearly 14, but per day production of the rail knee is now 15.5 lakh liters a day. We have 16 plants in operation, and our Bhubaneswar and Vijayawada is going to be operational soon. And the plants which are being operated by us, we are also thinking of increasing their capacity also. So we have certain space available before the plant, so we are trying to increase the capacity of that plant as well, in addition to making the new plants which are going to be commissioned soon in Bhubaneswar, Vijayawada, Kota and Simhadri.
And what can be the utilization level can we expect in future?
As of now, in the last financial year, the fiscal we are talking about, our capacity utilization has been nearly 73.32%. So as the trail is picking up, we are increasing our capacity utilization in many of the cases. Yesterday we also had our cost audit, and it has also observed that the utilization of the plant's capacity utilization has improved a lot as compared to the pre-COVID levels, COVID levels also, and we are in process since we are going to increase their capacity also and the utilization of not only the existing assets, but the assets going to be added, because since we have to meet the demand, so we'll have to increase the production from these plants as well. So you will find some good improvement on a better side as far as the capacity utilization is concerned. May and June are the peak periods, July. In fact, now the railway demand is throughout the year except for the month when you have a winter. So you will find a more or less good capacity utilization throughout the year, except for the maintenance days.
Okay. And my second question was, what's the update on the payment aggregator license, which is pending since last 2 quarters? And just wanted to understand, will it help in bringing additional revenues, or it will help in cutting down the cost?
It will help the payment gateway business. Yes, we had applied for the license. We were stuck up in between. Many changes had to be made. We are iPay licensing के लिए we had applied to RBI. RBI has given us certain guidelines. We are complying with that guideline. We are in process of following. As a follow-up, we are about to submit 2 papers to them very soon. As far as the revenue from the iPay is concerned, let me explain you that our revenue from the payment gateway has been very good this year. This has been nearly 67.37 CR from the payment gateway, and out of which the net profit has been around without GST has been 38.09 CR. So the revenue projections are there. That is why we are going ahead. Till the time it is not there, we are going only with the PG. We have not stopped the PG work. But in aggregator model, yes, we are going to increase the revenue once we are through. The process is not that simple, sir. It requires lot of effort. That team is on, and the entire process has to be rebuilt. So we are doing that. The technical changes are also in the pipeline, and as well as the approvals are also in the pipeline. You will hear the good news in the days to come.
Okay. That's it from my side. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you. Next question comes from the line of Jyoti Singh from Aryan Capital Markets Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. My question is on the Vande Bharat side. If you can give us a little bit brief, which are the how is the pipeline, and which are the companies that we are having contract, if we can disclose. And apart from that, why are other expenses? Why are other income is increased from previous quarter?
First is the other income is from the other resources. The interest has gone up and increase in FD rates also. FD rates have improved, so the interest has improved, so other income has improved. Answer to your second question, ma'am. Then answer to your first question is some light on the Vande Bharat. As far as the operation of the train is concerned, it is controlled by the Ministry of Railways. We know that much, as you have read in the newspaper, that the trains are going to be inaugurated. The Vande Bharat, so far we are operating, doing the entire hospitality business. Services are being provided by IRCTC on Vande Bharat. As of now, we are providing services in nearly 17 Vande Bharat, 2 were earlier. So these services are there. If railway decides to operate more and more trains, we would be providing services in all. And who would be getting the contract or who's running the contract may not be that important. Important is the license fee that IRCTC is getting, and rest of the operation part IRCTC is handling well.
Okay, thank you so much, madam.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you. Next question comes from the line of Akshay Bhor from Citadel. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, Akshayji, you are audible.
Hi, ma'am. My question is on the internet ticketing business and growth as we think about the next year in this business, because ultimately this contributes to about 80% of your EBIT contribution. I just want to understand what are the levers from here for you to deliver growth in this business in terms of either internet penetration increase or number of passengers increase, and how do we think about each of these variables?
To explain to you, I would like to share a few figures with you, Akshayji. That is the daily average ticket, if you recall, in the first quarter was around 12.73 lakh tickets in a day. When we were having a good number of 2S tickets available with us, that was nearly 38%. Subsequently, when the decision was taken, our booking went down to 11.63%. And now, in the third quarter, the booking went down further. It was 11.31%. But the average now, but in quarter 4, the booking came back to 11.61%. So the average booking that we are doing is nearly 82% of the total ticket inventory available through online mode. And as far as the services convenience fee, which is contributing nearly 75% to our profit, so the more or less the pattern of the convenience fee remains the same, barring 1, 2 or 3 crore here and there. You can see our revenue from the convenience fee is nearly 200 CR average on a month. And the total revenue that we have collected from the internet ticketing is around 802 CR in the entire year. So as of now, the booking remains the same. But we are focusing more on the non-convenience fee resources, which have now increased, which are contributing to 33% of the total revenue of the internet ticketing business. Out of it, you can say the total revenue that we have earned through this business and related business was nearly 1200 CR. Out of which 802 crores, that is 66.94% was contributed by convenience fee, that is your ticketing business. And the non-convenience fee business is around 33%, sir. So that was earlier 337 CR in the last financial year. This year it is now almost touching the 400 CR, so there you find some growth. And this growth has been mainly due to many factors. That is, our loyalty program has also contributed, our PG integration has also contributed, our agent portion has also contributed, our IT earning has also contributed. So when we see the revenue from the IT business, it has to be seen in totality, not alone with the convenience fee, which is 82%. It may increase to 83, 84 in the years to come. But at the same time, we need to focus upon the non-convenience fee resources, which are the added business, ancillary business to the internet ticketing. So our intention is to increase our revenue there more and more, and to not only to retain the internet ticketing, but to show us good growth by providing a good services to the customers.
Correct, ma'am. And just a clarification, is it then fair to say that, looking into the next couple of years, the growth in the internet ticketing segment will be largely through non-convenience fee, and convenience fee could remain in the same sort of 200-ish kind of range? Is that
some growth will be there in the ticketing also. As the internet improves in the country, some marginal improvement happens every year. It was little fortunate or unfortunate in the COVID days that growth which was to happen in the years to come happened in money. So that is why some variation you can see, some variation in the revenue mix was also seen just after the COVID. And it was the main bread earner during that period. And as the train increases, the capacity utilization increases, so like Vande Bharat are being added and more and more trains will be added, so the revenue will also will go on a higher side gradually. But the margins are going to be little at a slower pace as compared to the COVID period. Yes, our focus is going to be more on the non-convenience fee, where we are trying hard. Aggregator business is one. And our other loyalty programs, you might have noticed that we are doing lot of loyalty programs ahead. We have already opened with the 3 banks as compared to 1 previous bank. Then ticketing also, we have recently launched the Chardham ticketing with the other parties. Other party ticketing also we are focusing. That Chardham booking is very popular. And our payment business is also there, and we are also focusing more on the B2C partners and other businesses.
Correct, ma'am. And just one last question from my side. This is again on the convenience fee itself. And ma'am, you would have a decent visibility in terms of what is the likely passenger booked growth in the next couple of years. And as we understand, already the capacity of Indian Railways is so high that by adding a few Tejas trains, it doesn't move the needle in terms of overall passengers travel. Do you have a visibility in terms of what is the growth rate that you could see in terms of passengers booked or traveled in your case?
As of now, I don't have the overall picture of the passenger traveled on Indian Railways. I can only tell you about the reserve segment. And if we see the...
Yeah, on the reserve segment itself, ma'am, do you have a visibility of what could be the passenger growth?
I can tell you. First thing, if you see the January figure, the passenger travel was 4.85 CR. But in February, because of the winter, it has a seasonal variation also. The number of passengers reduced to 4.59 in the reserve segment. But in the month of March, it increased to 5.09. And the number of trains also decreased correspondingly in the month of February, but increased in the month of March. So we have to see the seasonal variation also, but yes, there is a scope. As the new trains are being added, more and more customers are getting diverted from the other modes. The festival rush is also there. The holiday rush is now happening. All trains are full. You will not get reservation in any of the trains these days because the trains are running with the full booking, which is good news for all of us. The more booking, the more revenue to us.
Got it. I'll leave it at that, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next question comes from the line of Rohit Jain from Tara Capital Partners. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah, Rohitji, you are audible. Hi.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Taking off from the last question, you said that on the ticketing side, most of the growth is going to be driven by non-convenience fee, and the convenience fee is going to be more or less stable. I mean, it could grow slightly, but the main growth is going to come from non-convenience fee. Can you tell us what is the difference in the margin profile between convenience fee and the non-convenience fee?
In the convenience fee, when we talk of the, you want me to tell you the productivity margins in that?
No. I mean, like, I'm assuming that convenience fee would be your highest margin business. I mean, pretty much it's a platform business. Everything sort of flows to the bottom line. So just compare it to that, like a bit more margin, anything.
I got it, Rohit. In fact, the non-convenience fee will have better margins, better than convenience fee. I'll tell you how. Because when we calculate the convenience fee, we need to pay to the CRIS also for maintaining the infrastructure. The entire infrastructure of the ticketing is costly. So there our expenditure, though not is much, but it is certainly more than what we are going to spend in the non-convenience fee resources. Here what we are doing, the infrastructure that has already been placed, on top of that these are the ancillary services, which is a total bonus business for IRCTC. So here the expenditure is less and here the expenditure is going to be more. Most of our businesses like payment gateway, etc., there our expenditure is almost negligible because the infrastructure is already in place. I need not take any additional bandwidth. The only manpower, monitoring resources and the reconciliation expenditure is added to it. That is very meager as compared to the other infrastructure expenditure that we normally do in the internet ticketing.
Understood. And just another related question to last question is, I guess what the previous participant might have been trying to ask is, as you said, most of the trains are already running at full occupancy. It's difficult to get reservations, which means pretty much Indian Railway is working at peak capacity. And if you look at the budgetary announcement every year, the number of trains being added is hardly anything as a percentage of the overall base. So, given that internet penetration is pretty much at peak levels, I mean, in the near term, 80 to 84%, and all the trains are working at full capacity, so what will drive the growth in the ticketing volume? I mean, if we look at on a YOY basis, should we expect ticketing revenues to be sort of low single digit to flattish, assuming no change in convenience fee?
It may not be exactly flattish. It will have some seasonal variations and the festival variations, of course.
No. I mean, I'm talking on a YOY basis. Like if we consider the full year, that will rule out the seasonality, right? I mean, if we take the whole year versus the next year, the seasonality will adjust itself.
Yes. There is some growth factor associated with the internet ticketing. And as the more and more awareness is happening, the growth sinusoidal curve may not be that sharper. It will grow, but grow at a slow pace.
Yeah, so that's what I said. Is it fair to say that it would be low single-digit types?
Sir, we have already come at 82%. There is going to be a growth, but growth will be at a little, the sector will be little less. And that is why we would be focusing more on the non-convenience fee resources. You can't presume that we still have an offline model available for the persons who are not that literate, and we should have, because it is the services type. Indian Railway has offered services from all the modes. Internet ticketing is one. There will be a transition of the customer from offline mode to online mode, like all businesses, which is also going to happen. So that transition, we will be a beneficiary. But at the same time, just to keep the momentum up, we would be focusing more and more on the other businesses so that our total revenue from this segment, that is internet segment, remains on the top notch.
Understood. And can you just help us understand the, let's say, stable, steady-state margin in the catering business? That margin has fluctuated pretty sharply over the last few quarters. So going forward, what can we expect in terms of a stable margin for that business?
Catering is now contributing nearly 41% of our revenue this financial year has contributed. So our margins has been more or less same as we had earlier, that is 10 to 12%, depending upon segment. So catering our margin almost it is going to be in that side only, except for the e-catering where we have a 15% margin.
Right. So more or less going forward also 10 to 12% should be the steady state range for the catering business.
Yes. You can say so.
And just last question, what drove the sharp increase in the tourism revenue quarter on quarter?
You should be happy with that, sir.
No, just trying to understand. We are happy, but we just try to understand.
I tell you the reason. The domestic tourism is on its boom, right? And I think I would like to apprise this house that IRCTC earlier was running only into the budget tourism, and we were doing the luxury tourism as well. We have come up with the new model of the business after Ministry of Railway has announced a scheme called Bharat Gaurav scheme under Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat. Scheme announced by Ministry, Honorable Prime Minister has taken this initiative, and in this Ministry of Railways has announced the scheme Bharat Gaurav, where we have taken 10 rakes. These 10 rakes have been customized and put it into the operations. So this new segment has been added. Earlier we were operating only 80 trains in a year, 80 to 90 trains in a year in the budget segment. Now we would be running nearly 300 trains in a year, and each train is contributing to nearly 50 lakhs of our revenue. And out of which, yes, of course, some expenditure of the railway and IRCTC and the service provider is also there, but a good margin of a 10% is left with us. So you can say that we have operated many such trains. We did lot of domestic tourism, and we competed with the open market. We could drive many customers to IRCTC, and State Tirth also contributed into that. So we could do good business, and the results are in front of you. And in the years to come, this Bharat Gaurav is going to add a revenue not less than 250 CR alone from this segment, which used to be nearly 60 to 70 CR only in the previous year. So you can anticipate good growth in the tourism.
Understood. And just last question, and thanks for answering all the questions. Given that future growth is going to be driven more by, let's say, non-convenience fee, things like Bharat Gaurav and catering, which are, let's say, 10 to 12% margin business, at what level should we expect the overall margins to settle? I'm assuming it's going to be lower than the 33, 34, 36% that we are used to. So can you help us understand what would be the margins going forward?
You can expect the same results, sir.
Even if the mix of non-convenience fee increases in the overall revenue mix, the margin is not going to come down?
Yes, I agree, sir. It can be even better if the non-convenience fee resources are doing pretty well, and the Bharat Gaurav segment, the way it has picked up, the market and the brand equity of the IRCTC has improved in this segment. and we are getting full cooperation everywhere, and the good number of bookings are happening, and the revenue in this segment put together is going to be high, and the margins are also going to improve.
No, ma'am. What I'm trying to understand is the, let's say, catering business and the Bharat Gaurav business, you said are a 10-12% margin business. So as their proportion in the overall revenue goes up, even though the absolute numbers might go up, but margins will settle lower, right?
Yes, likely change will be there. But at the same time, absolute numbers will go up. So the ultimate.
Yeah, that I understand. I'm not asking that. I'm just trying to, from a modeling perspective, I'm just trying to understand. Is there a margin number that we are working with? Is there a visibility there? Is there some visibility there?
We are able to do even better in the non-convenience fee resources, so that is going to compensate.
Understood. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks for answering all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question comes from the line of Rahul Jain. Please go ahead.
Hi, is my line audible?
Yeah, Rahul ji, it is audible.
Yeah, hi. Congratulations on very good numbers. Ma'am, just a couple of things I need to check. Firstly, on the catering side, can we see all normalization related to that lean period, peak period related reconciliation on catering license fees done?
We have completed for the peak period, and for RSG trains we have done. For the lean period it is still on, and for the mail express train it is still on. We have not been able to complete that exercise because we started little late, and we are still in process. Maybe in a lean period the team is going to complete that soon.
Okay. And regarding this...
Rahul, you might have seen in the remarks that the invoices, that we have seen some impact on the results also, which was on a good side. Accordingly, the demand notices were given to our licensees. Many of them have disputed also. We are resolving those disputes first before the money gets realized. So we are very much in the process and actively in the process.
Sure. And in the ticketing business, since the 2S normalization is largely done with, what should be the growth potential here in the convenience fee side?
Convenience fee will have the convenience fee as compared to the previous year, it has grown up because the number of passengers have gone up. The overall passenger traveled on Indian Railways is going to increase because many new trains are being added, and many new trains are being run during the season. Festival extra trains are being operated. So we have already seen the growth as compared to the previous year, in spite of the fact we got second mandatory provision dissociated in the first quarter itself. But more or less uniform results were there. But as far as the growth is there, growth is going to happen. It is going to happen more in the non-convenience fee, which has even better margins. So the overall earning from this segment is going to be on a better side. That is what our perception is.
Right. And if you could share some basic data on the convenience fee side, basically average selling price for the quarter, mix of AC, mix of UPI, those kind of metrics.
Yes, I'll certainly share. See, our total contribution in the last quarter, the quarter 4 that we are discussing, the sleeper class has been 42.87. The second S is more or less the pre-COVID level, that is 12.52%, and the third AC is around 28.29%, and second AC is about 6.93%. Rest is the very small amount. So this is the breakage as far as the class wise is concerned. And the UPI transaction is contributing nearly 33% now. As we know that the average UPI transaction in the year has been 33% as compared to the previous year when it was 31%. And before that it was 24%. The overall increase in the UPI transaction is also impacting this. So that is what I think I have answered your question also.
Yes. And ma'am, on the non-convenience part within the ticketing, any 2-3 key segments which are sizable, if you could quantify them and the drivers for them going forward?
You will find the increase in the revenue in the loyalty program. And of course, the the payment gateway business, you will see some improvement, further improvement. Then you will also see if our result aggregator license comes through, then you will see further improvement in that business. And advertisement revenue has shown a good improvement where we have nearly 67.41 CR from our advertising business. That growth may continue and we may do even better. Because this year is going to be very important. That is in the internet segment. But in the other segments, in the tourism, yes, Bharat Gaurav is going to act. IRCTC has a very interesting mix of the revenue. It keeps on changing, but the overall absolute things, as you know, Rahulji, you are a better judge, that we end up landing always in a good numbers. Maybe the revenue mix may change. So this year, the tourism will also show a good improvement because earlier the revenue from the Bharat Gaurav type trains used to be nearly 60 CR. Now it is going to be nearly 250 CR and the margins are going to increase. Absolute number also will increase. The loyalty scheme in the internet ticketing we are going to show a jump, and the e-catering will also show some improvement. So overall there is going to be a very good picture and very good future for our investors in IRCTC.
Thanks. And one more question on the tourism side. Can you share the matrix for Tejas in terms of revenue frequency?
Tejas has done well this year. The overall revenue that we received from Tejas has been 155 CR. And operating expenses has been 130 CR. So put together, both Tejas has given a revenue net profit of 24.3 CR. And occupancy level of Ahmedabad Tejas has been nearly 81%, and Lucknow Tejas has been nearly 69%.
81 and 69, what you said, is it?
Yes. That is occupancy level.
Right. And what's the situation on some of the businesses which are on the tourism segment led by overseas traveler like Maharaja and Buddhist circuit?
Maharaja has also done very well this year. Last year though it was COVID. So we could get only 2.84 CR when we ran few charters. But this year we have been able to get nearly 55.38 CR from Maharaja, which is a good number, and the number of our packs that we have traveled is highest in the country in the luxury segment. In air ticketing also, as compared to the earlier revenue of 8.54 CR in the previous year, we are having 23.04 CR in this year. So other business in this air ticketing also has done well. And state theatre also segment has also picked up as compared to the 30 CR of the previous year. This year we have done 153 CR. So entire put together the tourism business has given us a revenue of 565.98 CR as compared to 187.89 CR of the previous year. And we can expect more growth in this business because of the Bharat Gaurav being added in the seat.
Right. Just last bit on the state comment that you made, ma'am. I think we generally see some more traction in the election period. So do we expect this since general as well as some state election are coming?
Like any other tourism product, it is also subject to seasonal variation. So I can only answer this at this juncture. It all depends on states, whether they want to spend their fund in this direction or not. But generally people work in this direction So we hope for the good.
Right. Thank you. Thanks for the color, and it's great being associated with you for so long. Thank you so much for your guidance through this period. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question comes from the line of Madhuchandan Day from Money Control. Please go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. I have a couple of questions. One is a housekeeping question. What was the absolute number of tickets booked in FY23?
Just wait for a while. I'll have to look for the numbers. The total tickets you said booked in?
FY23.
I'll get you the number. Somehow I think 43 CR.
43 CR. Okay. And ma'am, this year's Bharat Gaurav revenue is 60 crore. Is that right?
This year the Bharat Gaurav train just started their operation. Earlier we were running the same segment in the name of a Bharat Darshan and Pilgrim Session. That together was contributing not more than 60 CR, which is going to be now 250 CR to 300 CR with the 10 rails that we have taken from Indian Railways on lease.
Okay, that is your projection for FY24.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So you have answered all these questions very nicely on internet ticketing and also on the tourism side. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So my question is, what is your take on the growth in catering and rail needs for the next 2 years? What will be the driver and what kind of growth rate can we expect?
We would be on the positive side in the rail need, as we would be starting our 2 plants very soon. Bhubaneswar and Simhadri, we are going to start these plants. Further, we are upgrading the capacity of the existing plants also, so we are going to increase our production. Secondly, we are going to improve our capacity utilization by doing some operational measures. So our performance in the rail need is going to be better side. As of now, we are producing nearly 15.52 lakh liters a day, which we would be increasing, taking up to nearly 17 lakh liters a day by the end of this financial year.
And by 25?
Rail need.
And by 25, what kind of capacity will be there for rail need?
25, we would have added all our plants, so we would be meeting the entire requirement. Nearly 80% of the railways requirement of the water will be met by all these measures that we are taking. Then we will be serving nearly 18.5 lakh liter water in a day. So that will add a good amount of a revenue to our team.
Got it, ma'am. And what about catering? What are the future drivers? What can we look forward to?
Future driver in the name of a new train fleet that is coming up, that is Vande Bharat, which is a prepaid train. We know that there has been an announcement that many more new rakes are going to be inducted. So that is going to add a fleet to our revenue, one. Secondly, the existing tenders which could not be done yet because we are a small duration tender, that we are trying to wind it up. And now we are focusing not only on the revenue side, on the operational side also, so that we can provide better services to our customers and bring a good brand value to our businesses in addition to the revenue.
So, ma'am, my question is, from these initiatives, one is Vande Bharat and the pending tenders, what kind of incremental revenue are you looking at for FY24 to start with, and again for FY25? What kind of growth can we expect?
As and when the tenders are awarded, the revenue gets added, ma'am.
Yeah, I understand, but if you could give us some color on kind of growth that we are looking at. Not numbers, but some idea about the kind of growth that...
Bidding process, ma'am. At times, vendors bid very high, then you get a good number. At times, when the train is not having a good route, then it gets a less bid. So, difficult to project. At times, the competition in one circuit is very high. You get a very, very high bid. So, and then the other processes also there. So, maybe very difficult to predict. However, the growth will be there and a good amount of a growth, more than, I think 10% is going, we can anticipate. But one segment which we are focusing is e-catering. Where we have already reached to the extent of 40,000 meals in a day, and we are already providing, and in quarter 4 the figure has been nearly 43,000 meals, and it is growing steadily. We have also started booking through our agents. These are B2C agents which are there on our website, and the number of vendors with our food aggregator has also gone up. Number of food aggregators has also improved. The direct vendor number is also improving, so you can anticipate some growth in this segment as well.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, we have reached the end of question and answer session. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Very good afternoon once again. It has always been pleasure talking to all the investors and all the participants here. Sharing our experiences with the IRCTC has been one part, but at the same time what market thinks about us and what are the queries of the market, we are more than happy to answer. Not only to the earning calls, we are always open to share our experiences and our thoughts in the investors call also. So IRCTC is a very transparent and open organization and believes in the transparency as well. So I welcome you all and all the investors to be part of this journey as you have been in the past, and show your patronage to this company as usual. Thank you very much and wishing you all the good health to you and your dear ones. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. On behalf of IRCTC, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.